糕点传师、甜点传师、菜点传师，各位学长，大家好，暗暝。今仔暗，搁要甲咱做白素豆是咱的菜点传师，Master John, Master Tian, and Master Chai, and all Tao Kings. Good evening. Tonight, once again, our Master Chai will provide us her compassionate guidance. Let's now let us invite our Master Chai for her compassionate guidance.
暗暝好暗暝哈，各位收听好暗暝。
咱请珊珊助理给咱翻译。
各位道亲，大家好暗暝。
好暗暝。
好，所以感谢天伦书店，感谢祖师皇族，感谢师尊寺庙大德，感谢老前人甲各位点坛师慈悲栽培，更加感谢在座酒店人士、店店人士，甲各位道亲，今仔大家入来，这个 room 内面大家在店的空中内底做伙来开班，就较有这个机会通学习。
Thank you to Heaven's grace and to teacher's virtue and to the great compassion of the Buddha Maitreya. Thank you also to Sichuan and to the glory of Sichuan and Simu, and to all the Tian Chuan Si, especially Zhou Tian Chuan Si and Tian Tian Chuan Si, and also for everyone who are attending our meeting tonight, for giving us this chance to learn through Zoom in our lectures.
那么，今仔日要学习的题目是修道的4门功课。
Tonight, our topic will be the 4 subjects in Tao Cultivation.
那么咱大家拢知影这个备用的点睛咱的迄个一代名师就是济公外佛。
So we know that during this White Yang period, the great teacher during this period is our Qigong Buddha.
那么有一摆伫个神父班的时阵就请甲济公老师请教要请问咱咧修道的时阵有啥物款的功课，咱修道人爱去学。
So one time during a holy seminar, there were cultivators who asked our Qigong Lao Si, as a cultivator, what are the subjects or curriculums that a cultivator should learn and study?
那么济公老师呢，就来写4句诗4条诗给咱回答。那接着是下一个，咱要看投影带。Next.
So as an answer, the Qigong Lao Si made this poem and to explain the four important subjects in Tao cultivation.
咱即马伫个投影片内面看到4句，讲修道品格应当先，栽培功德立志前，配合连续成功现，学文约礼发圣贤我较袂晓念咱人话用国语个念一摆讲修道品格应当先，栽培功德立志前，火候炼足性光现。博闻约礼法圣贤这4句是济公老师对咱一个回答，一个 answer， 一个答案。讲咱修道人就是爱注重头一项爱注重品格，第2项爱注重功德，第3项呢爱注重悔后，第4项爱注重礼节。
So as an answer, Qigong Buddha gave us this poem with 4 sentences, which when in English we can say that it means building character is the first step of Tao cultivation. Then we must nurture virtue, perform merits, and establish an aspirational goal. When we have sufficient forbearance, our nature shines brightly. Vigorously learn while we scrupulously abide by the rules of decorum to follow the examples of the saints and sages. So these phrases represents that there are 4 special subjects in Tao cultivation. Number 1 is character. Number 2, virtues and merits. Number 3, forbearance. which is tolerance and patience. And number 4 is etiquette.
其实咱做人是讲囡仔的点睛，了需要先去教咱读册啦，尔。咱愈来愈做下，咱人生的过程中啊，更加需要一个心灵的导师，来甲咱带，互咱人生袂行着路。
So it doesn't mean that only children needs to learn and needs to be taught. Each and every one of us, even we the adults, we need also have a spiritual teacher who can teach us what to do in life.
那么咱协发今仔日大大甲各位道亲做伙来学习，还是这讲老师甲咱讲的甲咱教言的这个4门功课。来下一章。
So tonight we will try to discuss about these 4 curriculums of a Tao cultivator.
咱大家知影，自古以来自从几千年以来咧，修道的人真正多。不过咧，会当修行就迄个各位的人无真多，迄就是因为无拄着真道。
So since ancient times, there have been so many cultivators, but only a few people have attained Buddhahood. Why? The reason is that it is because they have not met the true Tao or the real truth.
讲早时阵的修道咧，都爱苦修苦练啦，伫咧家庭事业来放弃啦，当做即个情欲，自修自得，心肝拢无震动修到内讲外讲拢圆满啦。伊即个信心去感动天，上天在派神父来甲伊指点，才会得到即个真道。
So cultivation in ancient times was very hard to practice. It involved a lot of hard work and self-learning. One has to leave the home and his profession behind to cultivate. The cultivator must abandon the family and all his desires and practice self-cultivation to attain merits. Until the heart can no longer be troubled by external influences and be able to gain full and complete merit and virtue from inside and out. With utmost sincerity and with the mercy from the heavens and guided by the Buddhas and saints, it will enable us to attain superior enlightenment.
所以修道第一古早唔是遐尼简单，就当得到成就。
So during the older times, it was really not that easy to cultivate until the person can succeed in his cultivation.
譬如说，咱大家拢知影八仙过海，八位神佛，八位神仙，内面有一位神仙的叫做曹国舅，做国父。
So for example, there were for example, is Tao Fu. In the legend of the 8 immortals.
这个曹国舅咧，有人会想讲，这个人曹国舅伊的名就是叫做曹国舅，其实唔是。曹国舅咧，这个国舅是一个称呼，因为有一个姊妹伫咧宋朝的时阵伊做皇后，叫做曹皇后，这个皇后就有名。在咱中国历史上就有名。
So we all think that Tao Kuo is his real name, but it just means that he is the brother-in-law of the country because he has a sister who was the queen of that kingdom.
迄个时阵是宋朝宋 dynasty 宋朝的时阵。
It was during the Song dynasty.
这个曹皇后呢，伊的一世人的姻缘，伊的因果真奇怪。
The Tao Huangho has very special experiences during her lifetime.
伊有2段婚姻。
She got married twice.
那结婚2摆，佮第2摆佮伊做皇后咧，但是离岸，还是特别奇怪。
So why is it that she was able to get married twice, and during her second marriage, she even became an empress.
伊即个小弟也是阿兄吼，那我都受到做百姓的面的一位仙，嘛是足奇怪、足离感的，也是足特殊的。因为因迄个厝内迄个福德袂歹吼，伊的安公咧就是宋朝的一个开国的迄个将军，叫做曹彬啊，毋是干那做将军的，尾也佫做啊比宰相，德行袂歹，德行真好。
So this Chao Huangho has a grandfather who was a general, and later on he was even assigned as a prime minister of their kingdom.
啊，那么曹皇后伫做囡仔，佫真细汉的点钟咧，啊，就甲一个姓李的，吼，姓李啊，应该也是有名的人啦，名门啦，哦，一个男的吼订婚啊，啊订婚以后咧，要牵手咯，啊牵手暗的时阵嘿，即个因即个牵手吼，则无要有管礼啊，有迄个牵手迄个礼啊哦，啊，就是无入洞房啦，无做翁某啦，无做翁某以外咧，因即个先生佫摕一张礼纸互伊，啊，即个曹皇后啊，当然迄个时阵是曹皇后啦，即曹小姐说讲啊，对不起啦，啊，我吼无应该娶你啦，我的迄个志向吼，毋是咧牵手啦，啊，生囝做一个普通人，我是想要修道做一个，啊，拜看我都。有成就做一个神仙无？啊，你是毋是会做你交我离婚？我即马写一张离纸包互你，咱两个无，就是正讲无翁某关系咯，你搁去嫁别人，你搁去牵别人。
So the story of Chao Huangho goes like this. When she was younger, she was arranged to be married with a young man from the Li family. The Li family was a prominent family during their time, and they got engaged, and later on they got married, and they had a wedding ceremony. But after the wedding ceremony, her husband and her never get to be real husband and wife physically, because during the night of their wedding, her husband came to her and gave her a divorce paper and told her that he was very sorry, that he really should not have married her, because he wanted to go and become a cultivator, hoping that one day he will succeed to become a Buddha or a saint. So he asked Chao Huangho. During that time, she was not the Huangho, she was Miss Chao. So he asked Miss Chao, is it okay if I give you this divorce paper and we go our separate ways?
但是一般的，如果做这款的代志，一定要生气啊！你若讲不爱牵，你无早下讲莫牵，啊，你甲我牵入来啊，再讲你无要甲我做翁某，那一般人一定会晓生气。但是这个曹皇后，这个女的咧，伊无一摆都无生气，真有风度。阵啊呢，过等你就离开因这个EX 的厝内哈，阵啊等去伊外家咯。啊尾啊咧，就有一个姻缘，因为因的安公有算讲有势力吧，真有法的嘛，真有威望。尾啊阵啊嫁入去迄个皇宫内面，就变一个皇后。这个皇后真有名，这个皇后真有名。哪有名咧？伊尾啊做太皇太后的时阵咧，佮救着苏东坡。苏东坡咱大家拢捌伊吧？苏东坡本来红判应该爱坐监，也是死刑嘛，就是这个曹太皇太后甲伊讲情，阵啊，互伊免去坐监，免去受罪，尾啊再互伊去杭州去做官。
So the story continues that after Miss Chao received the divorce paper from her husband, normally for a lady who experienced something that drastic, she would be very mad. She might get angry, but for Miss Chao, she just accepted it without getting mad. So she just prepared herself, prepared her things, and just went back home. So after that, after she got home, since Miss Chow's grandfather was a powerful man during their time, she was again introduced to become the queen to become the empress of the emperor in the Song dynasty, and she was a very good and well-known queen during her time, and she even was able to help and save the life of Su Tongpo, who was during that time sentenced to death. And it was Cao Huangho who saved him from being killed. And that's why this Cao Huangho was a very famous Huangho during the time.
所以咱来看卖 ，B B 是要修道哦 ，B B 是要修道。这个细腻的，伊这个曹皇后，伊个第一个老公哦，第一个先生，修到尾啊，嘛是无名无姓，无法度做一个神仙哦。那么曹皇后的兄弟咧，有法度修到比曹国秀，真的内面的一位神父。
So both of them aimed to cultivate. The first husband of Cao Huangho, the Mr. Li, we have never heard his name because he was never successful in his cultivation. And unlike the brother of Cao Huangho, who was successful and was even given a name and become a saint in one of the 8 immortals.
有人就会批评啦，就讲这个姓李的吼，品格无好，你卖就卖，我看就卖，甲人看，结婚啊，尾啊，你再讲你无要看守，要做修道人，吼，你个修道人的迄个品格无够格。
So people later on criticized this Mr. Li, the first husband of Cao Huangho, because people said, why, if he did not want to get married, he should not have got engaged with that girl and should not have even had a wedding ceremony with the girl. He should have told them beforehand so that nothing, the girl will not experience this bad experience.
人说讲有啥物超过少修会成诶，尾会当神父来甲伊指点咧，就是讲那因即个祖家咧，吼，迄个福德袂歹。啊，个因这祖嫁出来，迄个子孙啊，不管男的啊、女的，品行拢真好。你看，曹皇后去互伊的第一任老公安尼无缘无故离婚，那伊嘛无离个啦，拢无抱怨、无怨天、无尤人，人个尾啊，咧得一个更较好的姻缘。
So unlike the brother of Cao Huangho, why is it that he was able to succeed in his cultivation? Because number one, their family had good karma that were brought to their lifetime, that they were being used by the children and the grandchildren. And aside from that, the family have taught their children with good manners and good characters that like Cao Huangho, what happened to her? She did not even get angry with her first husband. She just went home silently, and later on, she even had a chance to have a better future to become the empress.
咱下一章，咱就开始来研究，开始来学习吼。咱即马吼，遐尼简单吼，咱大家在座拢是道亲啊，吼，就是伫个。求道迄天咧，点老师甲咱讲吼，咱大家名已经吼，对地府摕起来，已经挂伫个天顶啊，天本挂好地府头顶，安尼咱来说，咱是不是非常的有福气？
So each and every one of us, we have all received Tao. So we are so very lucky that we are able to receive Tao and have our names inscribed in the book of life in heaven. And it is very, very lucky of us to have received Tao.
讲来得早不如来得巧啦，吼！较能早来不如吼来得较能卡，较能好运吼。咱就是因为咱可能经济也做袂歹，三生有幸啦吼，再赶着即个大道普传即个点睛，修道免参像因拜， 曹国舅啦，还是曹皇后因这个前夫安尼，都安尼放弃遐尼多，啊，佫无一定修会成吼。啊，咱即马呐，好好啊，照道理安尼做，啊，好啊去行功了愿，吼，咱检菜，咱修道嘛修会成功吼。咱咧拜拜时阵，顶礼拜还是顶礼拜，迄个美皇祖理就甲咱说啊，吼，那个对迄个慈禧大仙以后咧。哦，一直到张老前人呐、袁前人呐，还是迄个陈道典传师，陈道前人、陈道典传师，因本来那么是普通的道亲人呀，因为因知影安怎去了解道理以后，知影安怎去行功了愿，安怎去去为道拍拼，伊嘛是做一个神父，伫互咱早暗迄个烧香。所以修道要修成功，毋是无可能。头前即寡前人就甲咱留一个真好的地伫咧遐。
So there was a saying that goes like this: that it is to arrive early is not as good as to arrive at the most opportune moment. It is great fortune to be able to catch up with the great faith of the universal salvation of Tao. So we were able to receive Tao very easily, but unlike before, during the time of Tao Cultivation and the first husband of Tao Huangho, that they have to leave their family, to leave their profession and everything, just to go away from their family to search for a great teacher so that they can receive Tao. So for us, if we will just do diligently as what we were taught in the temple, as what the scriptures have said, we should try to act what we have learned. So it is not impossible that we can become Buddha. Just like what our Lucy Tsuli has mentioned during her lecture, that during our offering ceremonies, when we mentioned 慈礼大仙 up to 成道典传师, these were all ordinary people who became Buddhas and saints. So if we can, these are the people who got enlightened because they really work hard and they really sacrifice a lot for Tao. So from here we can see that it is impossible because our predecessors has already set examples for us to follow. So if we just follow them diligently, we can all have the chance to succeed.
但是咱会记哦，得之易，失之易易。讲得到真容易得到的物件，要无去嘛，更加容易无去。譬如讲，咱即马得到真容易得到道，只要因波师带咱来回转来求道，咱就有法度得到道。毋过咱若无爱好好啊补修的时阵哦，咱要拍无去嘛，更加简单，拍无去。
So we should all keep in mind that when it is easy to achieve, it will be much easier to lose. Just like the saying, easy come, easy go. What we receive easily, we never treasure them. So after receiving Tao, if we do not know to treasure the preciousness of Tao, then we might just very easily lose it.
下一章。咱拄仔就知影讲修道有这4门功课，咱即马就合法就爱好好来学习，甲各位就先做一个参考。
So we have mentioned a while ago that there were 4 subjects in Tao cultivation. So we will start discussing them one by one.
头一个咧，下一章品格，咱来看这个字，对，这一章没有错，下一章品格。咱先来看这个字，这个字一个人跟一个虚，这个字就是咱即马做国语所念的迄个儒家思想迄个儒。
So the first subject is character. So as we can see the word here on the screen, it is a word that has 2 parts. The part on the left represents a man, and the part on the left represents another word which we pronounce it as lu.
这个如咧，是讲这个如的这个思想咧，就是孔子，孔子安尼甲咱教落，安尼甲咱传落，一个思想，一个道德，还是讲一个哲学思想。
So this is a subject that our Confucius taught us.
还是一个道统。
It is the lineage of Tao.
Tao tradition, Tao统。
Tao tradition.
对，咱若问田经理，有人问田经理，还是咱来问田经理，什么是一贯道啊？一贯道这个道是什么道啊？田经理一定会甲咱应讲，这一贯道这个道咧，就是孔子的道，北洋的道。
So when we want to ask our Tian Jingli, Tian Dian Chuan Shi, what is Tao?
What is 一贯道？这个道。
What is the Tao in I-Kuan Tao? Surely our Tian Dian Chuan Shi will answer that Tao, I-Kuan Tao, the Tao in I-Kuan Tao is the Tao that Confucius has taught us.
无对，咱北洋就是所讲的、所强调的、所传的，就是这个孔子的这个一贯经传、一贯道。
So what we are learning from Tao, what you are learning from I-Kuan Tao is the Tao of the that Confucius has taught us. It is the Tao of the White Yang period.
英文讲迄孔子的 Confucianism 那么用中文来说，就是讲儒家思想、儒道。
So in English, Confucianism is Lu, this word plus Tao, so it's Lu Tao.
那么这个儒咧，咱看伊倒手边，就是部首，一个部首，一个人，这个部首。正边咧，就是一个需要迄个书，需要这两字，需要这两字内面迄个书。
So when we break down the word, it has two parts. The left is means a man, and the right side is the word that means need.
这个儒这字就是这什么意思咧？就是讲，不管一个家庭也好，还是一个社会也好，还是一个国家也好，还是一个地区也好，上需要的人咧，就是参像这款的人，参像儒这款的人，是咱规个世界上需要的人。
So no matter if it is from our home or from our society, from our country, or from the world as a whole, what we need is people with the nu.
那么这个儒家思想咧，上要紧，除了甲咱布咱一条路以外咧，伊就是要甲咱讲，咱做人爱有什么款的基本的品格。
So aside from telling us what to do, it is teaching us the most basics of a person, most basic characters of a person.
伊传这个传这个心理经传这个道，而且嘛传安怎做一个有品格的人这个方法。
So it teaches us how to cultivate. It also teaches us how to become a person.
下一
How
章
to become a good person.
下一章。咱讲品格啊，品格什么叫做品格咧？就是品行人格。咱要用英文说咧，佫敢若有一个 conduct， 还是 character， 还是迄个 personality 这款的意思伫。
So what is character, 品格? It means character, personality, and conduct.
这 conduct 这方面是品格内面一个真重要的一个部分。
And conduct is a very big part of 品格。
因为这个conduct 这品格咧，约束咱家己咱什么代志会用做，什么代志袂用做。
So with good conduct, we can figure out what are the things that should be done and what are the things that we should not do.
那么喜欢用一个故事来各位先做一个参考讲有一个 真后读册，即个人真有名，吼，尾也是一个真有名，迄个阮专门咧做房地产的啦，房地产的，伊嘛有保险公司做真大。伊吼本来伫咧读大学的时阵，真后读册，吼，照咱即马迄网络上来说咧，即个是一个学霸，真后读册的人。伊尾也来去法国去留学，那么去法国留学读到博士调职以后咧，伊的功课一贯拢足好诶，伊头到尾拢足好诶。那么读调职以后咧，伊就四界写，伊认为迄个法国即款诶环境真下伊老遐发挥伊诶专长，所以就四界写批吼去去出名迄款建筑公司啦，是工程公司去申请头路。希望看会当踮咧法国找到机会，踮咧发挥发展无？写批写啊侪批，啊嘛去 interview 啊侪间公司，啊嘛讲见着人啊，结果咧就是无一间公司答应要请伊。
So let us all share now a story about character. There was this person who was a PhD. He was very good in his studies, and he graduated from a university in France. This person is a very well-known person up to this time. He is in insurance and in real estate businesses. But after he graduated from his university in France, he was preparing his resume, and he was applying for a job. But he was wondering why every time he submits his resume and went for interview, he never get accepted for the job.
所以到尾啊，就安尼忍耐袂住啊，吼，就啊写批啊，佮亲身去即几间公司内面一间公司遐去问因，问讲为虾米咧？恁无要请我？我到底有啥物原因？你无爱用我？我成绩也好啊，我迄所有条件拢真好啊，为虾米无爱用我？
So after encountering repeated times of rejections and finding a job, one time he asked the persons in charge, why is it that with my resume, with my good grades, why is it that you never want to accept me to work for you?
好，迄个伊申请的公司的人就该回答，甲回答讲，我知影你，阮拢知影你条件真好，你学业上的条件真好，你的 professional 的条件嘛真好，但是咧，阮去调查咧，你伫踮遮留学的点钟，你几啊摆咧搭火车，甲坐迄个捷运，坐 subway 的时阵咧，你无把垃钱，无买票，就替你坐车。
So one of those persons that he asked answered him that it is true that you have very good qualifications. Professionally, you were good. You will qualify for working for us. But as we go and have your character investigated, we found out that several times when you were still a student, you have got on the train or the subway without paying your ticket.
好，那么虽然讲你无去互告啊，也无记录啦，不过所有的迄个什么啊，迄录影带拢会甲你存对啊。
So he said, even though that you were not sued, and there were no records, but we still can know and found out from the CCTV what you have done during the time when you were still studying.
虽然这是一个细项代志，你所贪的嘛是细条钱。
Even though it's just a very small offense, and you have saved just a very little amount by doing so.
你这细项的代志就做唔对，阮哪会加对迄个大工程还是大楼高这款的人去起？
So if you can do such a thing with that can save you little money, how can we hire you and leave you to to conduct and go with our big construction works.
即这个人吼，听到这句话以后咧，伊非常非常的后悔，嘛，敢若迄个点钟，那伊嘛安尼，规个人拢做一个大改变。这个人吼，这个甲伊讲这句话，这个公司敢若是伊的贵人啦，甲伊点醒伊迄个本性，伊阵啊对迄个点钟，伊阵啊吼，知影讲，咱做人绝对袂用个踮咧细项的所在去犯着贪，还是犯着啥物？占便宜绝对袂用的。
So after hearing what the person told him, he really thought of what he have done wrong before, and he knew that he shouldn't have done so. So he changed himself, and he never did those things again in his lifetime. But and he put in mind from that time on that he should not try to save small money from dishonesty, because those little things cannot help you in your life. And the company that told him the reason why he was not accepted was the person who has changed his life and has helped him a lot.
所以等下阿舅以后咧，对头开始拍拼，对头开始拍拼。所谓无应该犯的价值，无应该有偏见内面，无应该有迄个污点，家己一项一项过吼，要啊伫咧迄个建筑界吼，做甲真有名。
So after that, he went back to Asia and began his business, and he was successful because he remembered all the mistakes that he has done, and he never do those again. And he was later on successful in construction business.
那么有一摆，迄个电视咧甲伊 interview 的时阵哦，伊就家己讲一句话吼，伊讲吼，伊伫咧欧洲所学着迄寡专业上的迄个迄寡经验，还是寡学问吼，真重要无毋对。毋过咧，伊即张伊几张批去请无着头路即项代志吼。即寡人甲伊讲，你袂做你细项就做毋对，即寡即个经验，互伊上大诶教训，是一世人上介好诶一个教训，甲世人上介好诶一个，咩人讲？经历吼，经历。Experience.
So after he went back to Asia and become successful, he was once interviewed on TV and asked about his how he became so successful. So he said that aside from having good background in his education, people should learn not to commit small mistakes just to earn or save little money for that, because it can lead to a very big disadvantage. And those people who rejected him has become his mentors, because they taught him that they taught him what he should not do. And those things become very good lessons and experiences for him to become successful.
所以咱会记得几啊月日前吼，迄个5点男士甲咱讲道理的时阵，讲了一个例啦。伊讲吼，咱讲伊困倒爱会记的吼，毋通去菜市啊吼去买菜，伊就富好啊，钱把啦掉滴了，搁共摕一把葱啊，一块地球。安尼咱的家拢会无了了，咱就走无去。
So can we remember last time when our Wu Tian Chuan Si had a lecture for us, that he mentioned also a story about a lady and he says that most oftentimes we also commit this mistake, because when we go to the market, we will choose what we want to buy, and after we paid, some of us will always take a little onion leaves or a ginger and ask the vendor to just give it to us.
是讲咱开班的时阵咧，大家拢道亲，开班的时阵咧，要买菜还是要摕食的物件的时阵，安尼共晓，安尼共领，安尼共贵，吼，安尼咱就连过。 实在会去用打折扣。
So also, just like when we go to the temple for a lecture, and before that, when we have our meal, some of us will have the bad manner of when getting their food, they will just choose and steer with the food to choose the one piece that he wants. By doing so, we do not earn anything, but our character is then destroyed.
那为什么咱伫道中吼，一贯道内底，还是讲有别个迄个宗教团体吼有教，伊拢真正迄鼓励鼓励讲儿童读经，儿童读经咧，拢对倒开始咧，拢对三字经还是对地主规开始学。
So in I-Kuan Tao and in many other religious organizations, they all start to encourage the children's sutra classes. And during these sutra classes, it is always the 3 character classic, the San Zi Jing or the Ti Zi Gui, the guidelines for being a good person. These are always the topics chosen as the first books to be learned by the children.
即摆三字经也好，地主规也好，当然是教咱捌一寡字啦。不过上界要紧的咧，伊的本质就是教咱要安怎对细汉培养一个好的品格。所以迄个儿童读经咧是品格教育的上基本的功夫，上基本的功课。
So of course, by joining these classes, we will know and learn a lot of Chinese words. But the most important part is that through it, we can develop the good character of the children from the time when they are still very little.
你三字经地主规啊，就是迄个孔子会教儒家，会教咱每一个人要安怎对细汉到大汉，到尾啊会变咱社会上国家内底，还是讲地球内面上需要的人。
So Ti Zi Gui and San Zi Jing were books by Confucius. These are the books used in Confucianism to teach and instill good character in each and every one of us, so that when we become a part of the society, we can be the one needed and the one admired by others.
那么天道是无形无相的都是没有形象的那么道亲，咱每一位道亲，每一位人，就是道内面的迄个形象代表咱若道亲品格真高尚，看到真远的真正伶俐，外口的人一定会认为咱修道真好。若倒掉咧，就影响到咱的外口的人对咱道迄个印象就无同咯。
Heaven and earth are shapeless. It has no image. Each and every Tao member represents the image of heaven and earth. When a Tao cultivator have high and respectable character, people will naturally think that Tao is something very good, and they will all want to cultivate also. While when it is the other way, when the Tao members are not acting as they should be, or they are acting as wickedly, the great Tao may then be misinterpreted, and the image of Tao may be destroyed by these people.
下一章 ，next，咱老陈人常来讲讲修道的人每一个人拢会当代表道，一个人的好歹直接还是间接，拢去影响道的名声、道的名誉如果咧，每一个道亲会当过无悲喜脾气，谦恭和蔼去低心下气，孝顺父母，友好友爱兄弟信朋友秉礼无谄，富利无骄，即款的品格咧，自然看到高尚高超越人会甲伊敬佩。安尼时阵佫要劝人缀咱来行即条路，就会一定会成功。
Our senior lead master said, a cultivator is enough to represent the great Tao. The goodness or the wickedness of a person may directly or indirectly affect the reputation of Tao. If one can change the bad habits and eliminate the ill temper, be humble and loving, and be calm and understanding, be filial to the parents, be caring to the siblings, be truthful to friends, be poor without flattery, and rich without arrogance, then the character will naturally be superior and will be respected by everyone. If that person wants to advise others, he will surely be listened.
咱完全人嘛讲啊，讲要安怎讲，要安怎劝人咧，要安怎影响别人咧，咱就是以咱的身躯来表示都是虾米款的，吼，咱就爱好好啊，老实实去做一个人。
So Arian Chandler also said that we should set a good example through one's own action and be a trustworthy person.
下一章，就是正咱道理所讲的吼，咱家己正以后咧，再好多去影响别人也变正，咱家己度好以后咧，才有法度去度别人，国语就念做己正而可以正人，己度而可以度人。
So the saying goes like this: rectify oneself first before we go to correct others. We should first enlighten ourselves before we can go and try to ferry others.
那么咱道中点有一个真正出名的一个 example 的，讲有一位读书毕业的迄个道亲伊嘛就想道亲读书道亲，伊就想要去度伊的三是读书的朋友来求道，道几啊摆，定定就是讲一寡大道理，搁较深的道理要去度即个读书，去几啊摆厝内甲伊讲几啊摆的话就是安怎度回来。
So the story goes like this: that there was once a person who was a PhD. So he had already received Tao, and he understood about Tao. So he wanted to also to introduce his friend who was also a PhD to receive Tao. But every time when he visited the man, when he visited his friend, he was trying to discuss with him different subjects about Tao. But every time he goes to visit him, he always failed.
讲道理讲到讲道理讲到真正咧，真正深，真正专门，真正好听。不过伊这个朴素朋友就是无对伊去学堂求道。到有一天咧，过一阵点钟以后，忽然间有一天伊去学堂咧，发觉讲，你这个要度这个朴素朋友咧，伫咧学堂甲伊相拄哦。
So he was really trying very hard to discuss with his PhD friend with different subjects and wanted him to understand and to come with him to the temple to receive Tao. But he failed every time. But one day, when he went to the temple, he was so surprised that this PhD friend of his was there in the temple and had already received Tao.
那伊就这个朴素道亲就问这个朋友讲：你哪会学堂的？你哪来学堂？我你哪伫遮？我哪伫遮拄着你？伊就讲：我求道啊！伊就问讲：什么人带你来求道？这个新道亲就甲伊比，伊一个看原来带伊来求道是一个足普通，一点仔都无高尚，足普通的一个老妇人人。
So he asked his PhD friend, why is it that you are here in the temple? So the friend answered him, yes, I am here because somebody invited me to come and I have already received Tao. So he was so surprised about this. And he asked, who brought you here? Who introduced you to receive Tao? So the friend pointed to an old lady beside him. It was this old lady who invited me to come and receive Tao.
啊，这个福利人看了知影讲，唔是读遐侪册啦，啊嘛是一个普通人啊命啦，所以感觉足奇怪。我安尼讲甲遐侪道理，互你听，你无缀我行。啊，这个遐尼普通的人，甲你叫你来拜拜，你就来拜拜啊，你就来祈祷啊。
So when he looked at the old lady, he noticed that the lady was just a very ordinary person, and as he looked at her, she was not somebody who has got very high education. She was so ordinary and so normal that why is it that his PhD friend will come with her to the temple?
这个吼，这个宣道俊就甲伊说啦，讲吼你都唔知影，吼，这个人吼讲什么话，阮拢无法度去拒绝你啦。
So the friends answered that, you know, this old lady, whenever she says something, we will all follow her.
为什么你无法度拒绝你咧？因为吼，伊甲伊是徛共一个大楼，吼，迄个大楼是差不多4层还是5层的大楼，因几户咧共同用一个楼梯。那么这个老妇人人咧，家己厝内拼以后咧，每一工家己厝内拼清气以后咧，就是顺续甲这个楼梯对顶悬拼甲下骹，搁对下骹拼甲顶悬，迄个楼梯永远就是遐清气。
So he said that every time this old lady says something, nobody will turn her down. Why? This lady was he said that this lady is our neighbor. We live in the same low-rise condo. Because our condo doesn't have an elevator, we have to climb the stairs every time. So we all share the same staircase. And this old lady, every time when she cleans her house, she will also clean the whole staircase from the ground floor up to the top.
搁安尼，因连别人的厝内咧，迄个会甲迄下摊啦、鞋啊啦放喺迄个门外口，即个老妇人人伊个厝内绝对袂甲鞋啊甲衬摊放喺外口，因为伊要维持迄个 apartment 的楼梯清气，从来毋捌甲迄个因厝内迄个下摊甲鞋啊放喺门外口。
So some other neighbors might leave their shoes outside the door of their condo unit, but this old lady, she never leave anything outside their condo unit because she wants to maintain cleanliness in the stairway and in the open public areas.
伫个楼梯内面三堵，也是伫个三堵咧，安尼客气啦，安尼拢有三拍招呼，吼，敢若一个吼。虽然是一个真平常的厝边咧，不过真大家人尊敬。
So every time we see her, she was so very kind, and she seems to be very loving. And each and every one of us in the unit, we all respect her a lot.
我从迄个厝边无一间无别的楼梯哦，会当平稳的楼梯甲清气。
And that no other staircase in our compound can compare with the cleanliness of our condo's stairway.
无人平稳的楼梯甲清气，即款的人，你叫阮去创啥，阮在心嘛缀去。
So a person like her, every time what she says, what she wants us to do, we will all follow her.
所以叫阮来拜拜，阮就来拜拜啊；叫阮来祈祷，阮就来祈祷啊。
So when she told us to come to the temple to Pai Pai, we all come along with her. And when she said that we should receive Tao, we all follow her and we all receive Tao.
所以这个朴素听到以后，就家己讲一个感想啦，讲伊的感想就是讲啊，我一定做个无够，做人个做无够遐，吼。所以在这个我会做人一定啊，个大家这个老妇人人，所以我无法度导这个我的朋友来祈祷。
So the PhD had reflected on himself, and he has thoughts and told himself that I might have still lacking in my cultivation that I am not even enough to be compared with that old lady.
我阁应该踮我的人格顶悬啦，阁下一寡功夫啦。
That I should improve a lot on my character.
过来下一页 ，next。过来咧，刷落去第二就是讲功德。师父咧说讲人间无款不忠不义的圣人啦，天顶咧嘛无迄款无功无德的神仙。
So number 2 is Kongte, virtues and merits. Buddha said, there are no unfaithful saints in the world, and there are no Buddhas and saints without merits and virtues in heaven.
那么，佫有讲一句话讲万般带袂去，唯有业随身。这个业障啊，但是咧，以外咧功德咧，是咱修道的人百年以后会当登去天顶的迄个资粮。
So, and also, one day when impermanence arises, only then does one realize the life is a dream. Nothing can be taken away, only the karma that follows. Merits are the heavens, the sources of a cultivator when returning to heaven after 100 years.
讲有德的才有功，有德才有福。咱伫咧人间的时阵，因为有功有德，因为咱栽福、烧福，搁去造福、积福，咱会活了较有意义，搁较滋润。
And if there is virtue, there are merits. And if there are virtues, there are blessings. Today, we are living in this world because of merits and virtues. We appreciate and cherish this blessing. And if we expand and share our blessings with others, we will live a more meaningful life.
下一页。那么功德的迄个累积主要就是爱行功了愿、三施并行，三种的布施拢爱去做。
So virtues and merits are done through the accumulation of merits that lies in the 3 kinds of contributions. We should all perform the 3 kinds of contributions.
咱要讲这个三施以前呢，就联想到顶礼拜迄个助理宣传咧讲道理的时候，讲到一马蛇，填迄个句迄个故事。
So before we go on, Tian Chuan-Si remembered last week when our Zuli Xuan was having her lecture, she mentioned about a story of a snake and a saw.
那么这家佛祖咧，伊的佛经内底咧，嘛有讲到一个甲蛇有关系的迄个故事，这个故事甲迄个布施有真大的关系。
So our Buddha has also mentioned some stories about the snake, and it has some connections with our topic today.
这家佛祖定来讲，布施会当度咱人的迄个贪甲嗔。
So when we contribute, it can help with our being greedy and our being kuripot.
那么伊用一个故事，伊用伊的天眼，看到一个故事咧，伫咧佛经内面有写讲有一个人伊真正求欠甲那古里不咧，甲那吝啬。
So there were stories inscribed in the sutras that there was a story about the snake, and it mentioned about a person that was very kuripot.
伊成安怎成法咧？伊真正拍拼做工，就是要趁钱。那趁着钱以后咧，就去想办法去买一寡金仔来藏着。所以对少年一直做工，一直拍拼，一直做到老的时阵啊，趁着钱就去买金仔，有几块金仔以后就甲藏在一个瓶子啦，咱 咱这咱人讲牛底，当然因摆无玻璃啦，毋是玻璃牛底啦，就是土做的牛底，放在牛底内底，安尼来接一寡迄个接一寡金银财宝。
So this person, because he was very kuripot, he never wanted to spend his money. So every time he strive a lot, he works a lot, and he was trying to earn a lot of money. So every time when he gets his money, he will go and change and buy some gold. So after he has the gold, he will keep them all inside a clay pot, like what we have a bottle in this time.
伫少年一直做到老咧，伊拢总安尼欠7个巴头的迄个金啊。
So from the time when he was young until he got old, he all accumulated 7 pots of gold.
我逐工都在烦恼迄个金仔用头摕，就是即摆若有一个牛底的金仔的时阵伊就去涂骹压，甲迄个牛底的金仔甲戴喺涂骹内底。
So he was always worried that his pots of gold will be stolen by bad people. So he thought of a way, and he dug holes on the floor, and he kept those bottles inside the floor, on the floor.
家己唔敢食，唔敢亲，唔敢食好料的，对别人嘛真诚，你嘛一世人就到老看病要死死以后咧，迄6间7间的迄个金仔嘛砸袂去，敢若思念要过身迄个念头，就是讲我7个间仔的迄个金仔袂做互人偷摕去。
So he wanted to really keep those 7 pots of gold, and he never wasted his money in buying good food. He never had a good clothes. He did not want to spend even small amount of money for his friends or family. He just wanted to keep on keeping his money inside the pots. So when he got old, on the day when he was going to depart from this world, he was still worried about his 7 pots of gold.
一世人趁金仔，一世人顾金仔，到老的时阵，到老过身佫是烦恼迄个金仔，迄个无明的念头阵过身以后，伊才随着变一只蛇咯，转身做一只蛇。
So all his lifetime, he was just trying very much to keep this gold, and he was all the time looking after the gold without having other thoughts. Most important for him are his goals. So when he died, his thoughts are still attached to the gold that he has kept.
敢若正应着咱迄个古早人咧讲迄句话，讲人心不足蛇吞象，人的心肝永远袂满足的，敢若迄个蛇要去吞大象共款。
So what happened to him was like the old sayings, which says that a person will never get happy with whatever he wants, just like a snake who wants just to keep what he had.
伊要食象贪甲敢若一只蛇要去食大象。
He is very greedy, just like a snake who wants to eat a great elephant.
迄是人的贪心甲人的嗔就是安尼，敢若是马蛇起心动念要去食一只大象共款，永远都袂满足。
So his being kuripot and his greediness is just like a snake who wants to eat up a big elephant, that he will never get satisfied with whatever he has.
所以即时就做蛇，下出时佫做蛇，经过几啊世拢伫咧做蛇。
So he kept on reincarnating, and every time he still become a snake.
做蛇要创啥物嘢？做蛇就是要顾伊7间的迄个金啊。
So why he kept on becoming a snake? Because what he wished was just to look after his 7 pots of gold.
伊徛喺厝啊，已经拢拍包裹，已经拢放弃啊，佫踮咧一直顾伊迄个涂骹伊7间 即间的迄个金啊。
So what he wanted was just to look after the 7 bottles of gold. Even though that his house was already very old, it was already broke, has many, as already is very old, the snake is still there just to look after the 7 pots of gold.
那么安尼过做几世迄个蛇以后咧，有一摆咧，有一世时阵，忽然间伊才想到，伊讲我安尼一世人，毋是一世人哦，一世蛇，我一世蛇，安尼做实在是，踮遐顾7间，基本上是安尼是要创啥？有一天咱家己忽然想讲，我安尼是要创啥？啊，有啥物路用？有啥物动用？他忽然间讲家己安尼毋对，忽然间念头转过来，感觉家己毋对。
So lifetime after lifetimes, he has become a snake to look after the 7 pots of gold. But one time, he suddenly suddenly understood what he was doing, and he asked himself, after lifetime of looking after my pots of gold, what have I earned?
伊体会以后，伊领悟以后咧，阵仔紧去找一个，阵仔去搜出来，从这个外口去找一个甲伊有缘的人，迄个人咧，就遐行过。
So after he understood the snake understood its mistake, he tried to go out of the house, and he saw a man.
看到一个人的时阵，就这人看到蛇就惊，这要蛇大尾啊，伊会惊，一直要走。伊才甲这个人叫着讲：你唔通走，你唔通走，我袂害你，我有代志要拜托你。
So he kept following the man, but naturally, the man, after seeing that a snake is following him, he got so scared that he might be harmed by the snake. So the snake, later on, he can't do anything, but he has to talk so that the man can understand. He told the man that, do not be afraid, I will not harm you.
我有一寡金仔戴伫涂骹，迄寡金仔放喺涂骹实在是无当无用。我想要一个即寡金仔去做一寡有意义的代志，要捐互道场，迄阵还阁无不够咧，要捐互道场，迄个修行人有通做代志。
So he told the man that I have golds kept underground in my house. So I wanted to use this gold to do meaningful things, and I want to help cultivators so that they can have funds to do to do anything that they want.
我是蛇，无法度压，你是人，你有法度压，你帮我压出来以后咧，带我去迄个道场，我对即寡钱财咧，金仔要布施予道场。
So he said that I am a snake. I cannot break the ground and take out the pot of gold. So please help me take out the pot of gold and help me bring the gold to a place where there are people cultivating.
你再用一个篮甲我灌，互我放喺，互我踮咧篮底内底，含即个金仔，甲即骹篮，灌我来去，带我来去迄个阮的道场遐。我对即个钱要布施道场，互迄寡修行人去替我行功了愿。
So please the snake said, please put me on a basket also with the pot of gold and bring us to the place of cultivation because I want to contribute what I have to the cultivators.
这个人我用一骹篮，甲迄寡金仔，甲这蛇仔摕着，就咱去迄个道场以后，迄道场的主持人看了即寡金仔甲即尾蛇，甲带伊来即个人以后咧，伊就讲啊，足感动啊，足感谢。你安尼吼，讲着无量，讲着无量。
When they reached the place of cultivation, the person in charge was very, very thankful that they received such amount of gold. So he told the man that by doing so, you will have endless merits.
这尾蛇，这尾蛇阵啊，过无偌久就过身啊，过身以后咧，这主人就等于天道。
So the snake later on died and he returned back to heaven.
因为哦，蛇要变天都是无可，甲无遐过啦。但是伊即个大布施咧，就等于天道。
It should be very impossible for a snake to go back to heaven, but because of the great merit that the good deed that he has done for the cultivators, he was able to go back to heaven.
用伊迄个七间的迄个金仔布施咧，换到伊天顶的一个高位啦。
So he used his 7 pots of gold in exchange for a place in heaven.
那么伫咩天顶过一段将近以后咧，即个蛇的灵魂，就是迄个遐床的人，迄个灵魂咧，过来出世哦。
So after a period of time, the spirit of the snake, he was originally the person who was greedy and kuripot. He was born again.
出去做啥物人咧？出去做这家部族的一个地主，这家部族拢总10个出名的地主里面一个。
So when he was born, he was born to be a human, and he was born to be one of the disciples of Buddha Sakyamuni.
伊的名叫做舍利佛。
And he is 舍利佛。
舍利佛是这家佛祖的地主里面上有智慧第一的。
舍利佛 is considered the 舍利佛 was considered the one with the most wisdom.
舍利佛嘛，就是咱拄啊，头阵仔咱有念咧献心香以前，咱有念心经嘛，吼，心经里面有一句叫做舍利子。色不异空，空不异色。迄个舍利子就是舍利佛。
And also during the Heart Sutra, we have mentioned 舍利子。舍利子 is 舍利佛。
那么咱伫咧讲心经的时阵呢，讲主会甲咱解说心经的讲什么？心经就是观自在菩萨甲舍利子的一个对话。
So when Xingqing is discussed, we were told that Xingqing is about the dialogue between Kuan Yin Pusa and 舍利子。
那么今仔学校咧，就简单讲这个功德讲到这，讲了无圆满的所在，请政府下罪，请九点堂师、点堂师补充。请各位道亲包涵，今仔开本就到这，谢谢各位，多谢各位。
So our discussion tonight will be up to virtues and merits, and thank you to the saints and Buddhas. And if I have said anything wrong, may saints and Buddhas pardon me, and may our Zhou Tian Chuan Shi and Tian Tian Chuan Shi do additional comments on my discussion.